I just found out my wife was secretly having an affair with my cousin for years. And the most painful part is realizing that my sister-in-law was the one helping her hide it from me all along. I need to get this out before I lose my mind completely. My name doesn't matter. What matters is that I ruined everything, and karma didn't just come back around. It ran me over, backed, and ran me over again. 3 years ago, I started an affair with a coworker named Jessica. My wife Sarah and I had been married for 8 years. We had 2 kids, a boy 7 and a girl 5. Sarah was a good wife. No, she was a great wife. She packed my lunches, remembered every detail about my day, supported my career moves, took care of everything at home. But that was the problem, wasn't it? She was too good. Predictable. Too there. Jessica was different. She laughed at my jokes in meetings. She stayed late when I stayed late. She made me feel like I was still that guy who could turn heads, not just some suburban dad who came home to chicken nuggets and peppa. It started innocent. Coffee breaks. Then lunch. Then drinks after work. I told it wasn't cheating because we hadn't yet. And I told wasn't cheating because we hadn't slept together yet. Then we did. And I told it didn't count because I still loved Sarah. The lies we tell ourselves are most dangerous ones. For 18 months, I lived a double. I was careful. Deleted messages. Used cash. Made late meetings and weekend conferences. Sarah never suspected a thing because why would she? I was her husband. The father of her children. Her best friend since college. I look back now and I want to punch that version of in the face. Jessica eventually wanted more. She wanted me to leave Sarah. I told her I would, soon, I just needed the right time. The truth, I didn't want to leave. I wanted both. I wanted the stability of my family, and the excitement of something new. I wanted my cake, and to eat it too. Like every cliché cheater in history. Then Jessica gave me an ultimatum. Leave Sarah by Christmas or we were done. I chose Sarah. Not because I loved her more. Not because I realized what I had. But because leaving meant splitting assets. Traumatizing my kids. Looking like the bad guy, paying child support. Living in some depressing apartment. I broke it off with Jessica 2 weeks before Christmas 2022. She cried. I felt relieved. I thought I'd dodged a bullet. I could go back to my comfortable and nobody would ever know. I was so. Jessica didn't take it well. She quit her job 3 months later. I heard through office gossip she'd moved to another city. Good riddance, I thought. Crisis averted. For the next year and a half, I was the model husband. I came home on time. I took Sarah on date nights. I played with my kids. I convinced I'd learned my lesson without facing any real consequences. God, I was such an. Last month, everything collapsed. Sarah's sister Emma came to visit for her birthday weekend. Emma lived 2 hours away and we saw her every few months. She was always kind of cold to me, but I figured that was just her personality. On Saturday night, after the kids went to bed, Emma got. Really. The kind of where people say things they've been holding back. Sarah was in the kitchen getting more. When Emma looked at me with these dead eyes and said, "Re a piece of garbage, know that?" I laughed it off. Wow, tell me how really feel. I should have told her years ago. Emma said. But she made me promise. She made me swear. My stomach dropped. What are talking about? Emma's face changed. She realized she'd said too much. She tried to backtrack, but it was too late. The door was open. Sarah came back and immediately knew something was wrong. Emma started crying. Sarah went pale. That's when my entire world shattered into a million pieces. Over the next 3 hours, the truth came out. Not just the truth. Truth. The one I never saw coming. Sarah had been having an affair with my cousin Marcus for 4 years. 4 years. Not 18 months like mine. 4 years. And Emma had known the entire time. She'd covered for them. Lied for them. Helped arrange their meetings. I couldn't breathe. I literally couldn't breathe. I stood and my legs gave out. I sat on the floor of my own living room, while my wife and her sister told me how I'd been living a lie. Marcus was my cousin on my dad's side. We weren't super close, but we saw each other at family events. Thanksgiving, Christmas, 4th of July barbecues. He was at my wedding. He held my son when he was born, and he was sleeping with my wife. It started 6 months after our daughter was born. Sarah said she felt invisible. Touched out. Exhausted. I was working long hours. Trying to make partner at the firm. Marcus had just gotten divorced, and he started coming around more. Helping with projects around the house. Being there when I wasn't. One night I was away on a business trip and it happened. She said it was supposed to be one time. But it wasn't. They fell in love. Real love. The kind I thought she had with me. For 4 years, while I was worried about my secret. She had a bigger one. While I was sneaking around with Jessica. She was sneaking around with Marcus. While I was deleting texts, she was doing the same thing. But here's the part that made me want to. My affair ended in 2022. Hers didn't. She was still seeing him. Last week, 2 days before Emma's birthday visit, I confronted her with everything. She didn't deny it. She just sat there crying, saying she never meant for it to happen. She never wanted to me, she was going to tell me eventually. I asked her why. Why did she stay with me? Why did she keep pretending? Her answer broke something in me that can never be fixed. Because we're a good father. Because the kids needed stability. Because I thought I could have words. My own logic. Thrown back at me. I called Marcus that night. He didn't answer. I left 17 voicemails. Some were me screaming. Some were me crying. Some were me begging him to explain how he could do this. He finally texted me the next day. I'm sorry, man. We didn't plan this, it just happened. I love her. My cousin loved my wife. And she loved him back. The next few days were a blur. I moved into the guest room. I couldn't look at her. Couldn't be in the same space. Every memory was poisoned. Every moment we'd shared was a lie. But then something worse happened. I started doing the math. The math is what killed me. Not the betrayal. Not the lies. The math. I sat in the guest room with my laptop at 3 a.m., going through old photos, old calendars, old everything. Trying to make sense of the timeline. 4 years. She said 4 years. My daughter just turned 5. I pulled her baby photos. Scrolled back to the pregnancy. Started counting backwards from her birth date. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely use the mouse. There was a 3-week period where I'd been in Boston for a major case. I remembered because Sarah had been so upset about me missing her second trimester checkup. I'd promised to make it to her. Sent flowers. Called every night. Marcus had posted a photo on Facebook from that time. Him fixing our bat deck. Sarah in the background, visibly pregnant, laughing at something he said. I zoomed in on her face. She looked happy. Really happy. I couldn't breathe again. I went downstairs. Sarah was sleeping on the couch. I woke her. Is she mine? Sarah's face told me everything before her mouth did. Of course she's yours. Don't be ridiculous. But her eyes weren't sure. I could see it. Don't know do. She started crying. She's yours. I know she is. I'm not certain. Silence. The kind that confirms everything. We need a paternity test. She grabbed my arm. Please don't do this. Please, she's daughter. I've raised her, love her. Don't this. This already ruined everything. My son came downstairs. He was standing in the doorway in his Spider-Man pajamas, rubbing his eyes. Daddy. Why are yelling? I wanted to right there. Sarah went to him, told him everything was fine, took him back to bed. I sat on the couch where my wife had been sleeping and stared at the wall until sunrise. The next day I called a lawyer. Then I called a DNA testing service. Sarah begged me not to do it. Said it would traumatize our daughter. Said it didn't matter cause I was her father regardless of biology. But it mattered to me. It mattered that for 5 years, I might have been raising my cousin's child, while he smiled at family dinners. And played with her. Like a fun uncle. The test required a cheek swab. Simple. Easy. My daughter thought it was a game. She opened wide and said, "Aha," and giggled when I rubbed the swab inside her cheek. She had no idea I was trying to find out if my entire was a lie. The results took 2 weeks. Longest 2 weeks of my. During that time, I had to act normal, take my kids to school, help with homework, make breakfast, tuck them in. My son knew something was wrong. He's 7. He's smart. He kept asking why daddy was sleeping in the guest room. Why mommy was crying all the time. Why I wasn't smiling anymore. I didn't have answers that wouldn't destroy him. I also had to face my family. My parents called to invite us to Sunday dinner. I made an excuse. They called again. Another excuse. My mom showed at the house unannounced. She knew something was wrong immediately. She cornered me in the garage and demanded to know what was going on. I broke. I told her everything. She didn't believe me at first. Said there must be some mistake. Sarah would never do that. Marcus would never do that. Then I showed her the texts I found on Sarah's phone. The ones she'd forgotten to delete from a backup. Messages spanning years. Some sweet, some explicit. Some planning meetups while I was at work or out of town. My mom sat down on the garage floor and cried. "What about the kids?" she asked. "What about daughter?" "I don't know if she's mine, Mom." My mother looked at me with this horrible expression, like she was seeing me for the first time. "Does that matter?" "Yes, it matters. She's 5 years old. She calls Daddy. That's what matters." But I couldn't think like that. Not yet. Not while everything was burning down around me. My mom wanted to confront Marcus immediately. I begged her not to. Not until I had the test results. Not until I knew everything. She agreed, but I could see it was her. The test results came back on a Tuesday. I was at work when I got the email. I couldn't open it. I sat in my office for an hour, staring at the unopened message, knowing that whatever was inside would either save me or finish me off. Finally I clicked. The results loaded. Probability of paternity 99.99%, she was mine. I should have felt relief. Joy. Something. Instead I felt nothing, just empty. Because it didn't matter. The betrayal was still there. The lies were still there. The fact that Sarah had let me doubt my own daughter's paternity, because of her choices, was still there. I went home early. Sarah was in the kitchen. I showed her the results. She cried with relief. Tried to hut back. "This doesn't fix anything," I said. "I know. But at least know she's yours. At least that's settled." Should have been sure. Should have never put me in a position where I had to question it. Or write. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry." That word became meaningless. She said it 100 times a day. Sorry for lying. Sorry for the affair. Sorry for destroying our family. But sorry doesn't unring bells. I filed for divorce the next week. Sarah begged to reconsider. Said we could go to counseling. Work through that she'd ended things with Marcus. That she chose me. But she didn't choose me. I was just the easier option. The safer option. The one who wouldn't hurt. The same reason I'd chosen her over Jessica. We were both cowards. Both liars. Both thinking we could have everything without consequences. My lawyer said the divorce would take months. Maybe a year. We'd have to figure out custody, assets, everything. My kids asked why Daddy was moving out. Sarah told them we needed space. That we still loved them. All the things divorced parents say. My son stopped talking to me for a week. Just gave me one-word answers. Barely looked at me. My daughter was too young to understand. She just knew Daddy wasn't there for breakfast anymore. Wasn't there to read bedtime stories every night. She started crying every time I dropped her off after my custody days. Begged me to come back home. Said she'd be good. Said she'd clean her room every day if I'd just come back. I had to explain to my 5-year-old that Daddy leaving wasn't her fault. That I loved her. That some things grown-ups can't fix. She looked at me with these big eyes and asked, because of Uncle Marcus?" My went cold. What? Uncle Marcus made sad. I heard yelling his name. She knew. My baby girl knew. I told her no, it wasn't because of Uncle Marcus. It was complicated. Ground stuff. But she was too smart. She knew I was lying. The family found out eventually. My dad called Marcus. That conversation ended with my dad telling Marcus to never contact our family again. To never show his face at another family gathering. Marcus tried to defend himself. Said he and Sarah were in love. That they didn't mean to anyone. That sometimes these things just happen. My dad hung on him. At the next family gathering, Marcus's name was just gone. Erased. Like he'd never existed. Nobody talked about him. Nobody asked about him. But the damage was done. The family was split. Some people blamed Sarah. Some blamed Marcus. Some blamed both. And some blamed me. My aunt, Marcus's mom, called me crying. Said I must have done something to push Sarah away. That Marcus was a good man who wouldn't have done this without reason. I hung on her too. Everyone wanted an explanation. Everyone wanted to understand how this happened. But here's what I couldn't tell them. Here's what I couldn't admit. I deserved this. Not because I was a bad husband before. Not because I neglected Sarah, but because I'd done the exact same thing to her. The universe knew. Somehow, the universe knew. While I was with Jessica, Sarah was with Marcus. While I was deleting texts and lying about late nights, she was doing the same. While I was justifying my affair, she was justifying hers. We were mirror images of each other's worst selves. The difference? She never found out about Jessica. And that's what's eating me alive. I couldn't live with it anymore. The secret about Jessica was rotting inside me. Every time Sarah apologized, every time she called herself a terrible person, every time my family condemned her, I felt like because I was 2 months into the divorce proceedings, I did something incredibly. I told her. We were doing the custody exchange in a parking lot. Neutral ground. That's what the lawyers recommended. She handed me our son's backpack and mentioned that he'd been having nightmares. He keeps asking if daddy hates mommy, she said quietly. Something inside me snapped. I need to tell something. She looked exhausted. We both did. 2 months of lawyers and paperwork and splitting a we'd built together. What now? I had an affair too. The words just came out, no plan, no script. Sarah stared at me. What? Before I found out about Marcus, I had an affair with someone from work. For 18 months, I watched her face go through every emotion. Confusion. Disbelief. Anger. Pain. I'm not. Her name was Jessica. It ended in 2022. Right before Christmas. I chose our family. Sarah's legs buckled. She grabbed onto her car door. We're making this. To make feel better about divorcing me. I'm not. I swear I'm not. She started laughing. This horrible, broken sound. So this whole time, this whole time, I've been acting like I'm the monster. Like I destroyed everything. And did the same thing.
Yes. When?
When did this happen? I told her everything. The timeline. How it started, how it ended. I left nothing out. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she got very quiet. Does anyone else know? No. Not lawyer. No one. She nodded slowly. Then she got in her car and drove away without taking our son. I called 20 times. She didn't answer. I called Emma. She didn't answer either. 3 hours later, Sarah called me back. I'm at Emma's. Come get the kids tomorrow morning. I need time to think. Sarah, I'm sorry. I should have told sooner. I should have. Should have told me 4 years ago. When it was happening. Instead, let me confess everything. Let me beg for forgiveness. Let me look like the only villain, knowing done the exact same thing. She was right. God, she was so right. We're both terrible people, I said. Yes. We are. But at least I was honest when I got caught. We're going to take this to grave. She hung. The next morning, I went to pick the kids from Emma's house. Emma answered the door and the look she gave me could have melted steel. Emma said. About, affair. I know. Self-righteous piece of trash. Let everyone think she was the only one. Let whole family turn against her. Against Marcus. I know. Do parents know? Not yet. They should. Everyone should know what a hypocrite are. She wasn't wrong. My kids came out. My son looked confused. Why is mommy still crying? Because daddy's a liar, buddy. Because parents are both cheaters who destroyed family. But I just said. She's going through a hard time. We both are. That night, I called my parents. Told them everything. About Jessica. About the affair. About the timeline. My mother was silent for a long time. So while we're judging Sarah, she finally said. Had done the same thing to her. Yes. And we're going to divorce her without ever telling her. Without ever admitting own guilt. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know what I was going to do. My dad got on the phone. This changes things. What do mean? I mean we owe Marcus an apology. We him out of the family based on information from someone who did the exact same thing. Dad, he's still. I don't want to hear it. Don't get to judge him anymore. Don't get to judge anyone. They hung. The next few weeks were a nightmare. Word spread through the family. Not from me. From Emma. She made sure everyone knew. Every cousin, every aunt, every uncle. The narrative shifted overnight. I went from the wronged husband to the hypocrite. The self-righteous who'd let his wife take all the blame while hiding his own sins. My aunt, Marcus's mom, called me back. She didn't yell. She just said, "Now I understand." Then she hung. Sarah's family turned on me completely. Her dad, who'd been apologizing for his daughter's actions, stopped calling. Her mom, who'd sent me a care package after the affair came out, demanded I return it. At work, people started looking at me differently. Someone had talked. Someone always talks. Jessica's name came. People remembered she'd left suddenly. Started putting pieces together. My boss called me into his office. Asked if there was anything I needed to disclose. Any conflicts of interest from my time working with Jessica. I told him no. Everything had been consensual. Everything had been off the clock. But the damage was done. I was that guy now. The one who had an affair with a coworker. The one who couldn't be trusted. I didn't get fired. But I didn't make partner either. The promotion I'd been working toward for years evaporated. My kids heard things at school, whispers from other parents. My son came home crying one day because his friend's mom wouldn't let him come over anymore. She said, "You're a bad person." He told me. She said mommy is too. She said we come from a bad family. 7 years old. 7 years old and already paying for his parents' mistakes. My daughter started acting out. Tantrums. Hitting other kids. Her teacher called for a conference. Said she'd become aggressive. Angry. The therapist we took her to said she was processing trauma. That she felt abandoned. That she was internalizing the instability at home. 5 years old. 5 years old and already scarred by what we'd done. I tried to date. Figured maybe moving forward would help. I met someone on an app. Nice woman. Teacher. Divorced with no kids. On our third date, I told her my situation. I told honesty was the right move. She listened. Nodded. Then at the end of the night, she said, "I don't think this is going to work out. Because I cheated. Because don't seem like learned anything from it." Or angry at wife for doing what did. Want sympathy for being betrayed when we're the betrayer first. She wasn't wrong either. Nobody was wrong about me. That was the problem. The divorce finalized 6 months ago. We have custody. Split everything 50-50. The house got sold. Neither of us could afford it alone. Sarah moved in with Emma. I got a 2-bedroom apartment in a complex full of other divorced dads. Marcus moved to another state. I heard he and Sarah tried to make it work after everything came out, but it fell apart. Apparently, the fantasy doesn't survive when it becomes reality. She's single now. So am I. We're both miserable. We see each other twice a week for kid exchanges. We're civil. Barely. My son doesn't call me as much as he used to. When he's at my place, he spends most of the time in his room playing video games. We don't talk like we used to. My daughter still cries sometimes when I drop her off. But less than before. She's getting used to the new normal. That's what breaks me the most. She's getting used to it. This shattered, broken version of her family is becoming her normal. Last month was Thanksgiving. First one since the divorce. I had the kids, made a turkey, tried to do all the traditions. We sat at my tiny dining table in my tiny apartment and I looked at my 2 kids picking at their food and I realized something. This is it. This is mine now. No wife. No house. No family gatherings. No future that looks anything like what I'd planned. I did this. Sarah did this. We both did this. But the kids didn't. They're the only innocent people in this story. And they're the ones paying the biggest price. My son asked me last week if I ever think about what would be like if me and mommy had never gotten divorced. I told him yes. All the time. He asked if I was sorry. I said yes. More than he could ever know. He looked at me with these eyes that suddenly seemed too old for a 7-year-old and said, "Then why did do it?" I didn't have an answer. Not one that would make sense to a child. Because I was selfish. Because I thought I deserved more. Because I wanted everything without consequences. But can't say that, so I just said, "I made a mistake. A really big one. Can fix it?" "No, buddy. Some mistakes can't fix." He nodded. Like he understood. Like he'd already learned that lesson at 7 years old. I think about Jessica sometimes. Wonder where she is. Wonder if she ever thinks about how our affair set off a chain reaction that destroyed 2 families. I think about Marcus. About how we were both doing the same thing to the same woman, and neither of us knew. I think about Sarah. About how we were so perfectly matched in our selfishness, that we never saw we were destroying each other. But mostly I think about my kids. About how they'll grow in separate houses. About how they'll have trust issues. About how they'll wonder if love is real. Or if everyone eventually betrays everyone. About how when they're older, they'll ask more questions. And I'll have to tell them the whole truth. That both their parents cheated. That both their parents were liars. That both their parents chose temporary pleasure over their family. I'll have to watch them process that. Watch them lose respect for me. Watch them realize their father isn't a hero or even a good man. I'm writing this from my apartment at 2 a.m. Can't sleep. Haven't been sleeping well for months. There's no moral to this story, no lesson that makes it better. No silver lining. Just consequences. Sarah and I both thought we could cheat and get away with it. We both thought we were smart enough, careful enough, justified enough. We were both wrong. And our kids are growing, in the wreckage of our arrogance. If we're thinking about cheating on partner, if we're justifying that first text, or that first drink, or that first tist, let me tell something. Or not special. Or not different. Won't be the one who gets away with it. The bill always comes due. And kids will be the ones who pay it.